Welcome to another episode of American Heroes Outdoors. This episode, we traveled to the Apostle Islands near Bayfield, Wisconsin. Not only do we get to experience some of the best fishing in the area on Lake Superior, but we're going to head out to York Island and pay tributes to the Marine Recon Team Strikers Memorial, and also tell the story of Team American Beauty. So join us as we continue to share the stories of our nation's true heroes while helping them heal in the great outdoors.
Throughout history, brave men and women have answered their nation's call to serve. Heroes who have put their life on the line for each other and our freedoms. These are their stories. Join us as we continue our mission to share the stories of our nation's true heroes while helping them heal in the great outdoors. American Heroes Outdoors is brought to you by Shields, Smoky Hills Outdoor Store, Gate City Bank, Woodland Resort, Warrior Boats, S&S Promotional Group, Wheelers Point Resort, Evinrude, Center Power Sports and Recreation,
In June of 1969, our recon team, named American Beauty, was sent on a patrol in the militarized zone. On the second day, we were ambushed by a platoon-sized unit, and this is our story.
When I first joined, I didn't even know what a reconnaissance team was, but I can tell you that I sure found out fast. Our job was to go out and reconnoiter. We would look around, try to get information, any kind of fact or data on the enemy, to report back that would help us in the effort to defeat the enemy.
Corpsmen didn't really carry rifles and claymores, but in a recon unit where it's a six-man unit, you know, we carried, you know, we did just the same thing everybody else did, and we were a corpsman on top of that. I mean, we carried rifles, claymores, frags, everything. You know, we were a reconner first, and above and beyond being a reconner, I was responsible for everybody's life. And you have just, when you fail at that, or when people die on you, you know, it's just something's with you forever and ever and ever.
I didn't know it at the time, but I was assistant patrol leader with 4 patrols under my belt, which is ridiculous, but that's what it was.
It was my very first patrol. Didn't tell me anything, just here's your gear, carry this claymore, carry these M79 rounds, make sure you got plenty of food and water and ammunition. And
after a while, you just kind of become solitaire a little bit, but you listen to what's going on, you do your job. It was a different world. Oh, we got action. You're a heck of a good one. No, that is fun. Now, I can see it. We have supper. In Minnesota, they holler.
It's not on the boat yet.
They holler fish on. Now, I don't want to cross it. Okay. Now it's going to go the other way, isn't it? I got to go that side. I can't see the lines going down. There, I didn't snag it. Oh, that looks like a nice, clean one. Okay, what do we got here now?
That's a lake trout.
That's a beautiful fish. That's going to taste good. Do you scale them, or
No.
you fry them with the skin on?
Yeah, I put them on the grill.
On ice. There we go. Excellent. Now, if it was Minnesota, I'd just drop over and wash my hands, but this is a little deep out of the water. There you go, Joe. Look at that guy. It's like he got a tuna on. You got a bigger one, Joe. I think you got a tuna. Oh, that's a nicer one. That's supper.
Pretty fish.
We were in the demilitarized zone known as the DMZ. We were the second team to be inserted out of 4 on June 7th, 1969. We took some anti-aircraft going in. As soon as we hit the ground, you look at each other and you run a short distance very hard, and then you just lay and you don't move. About that time, the first team that had just been inserted before us got into deep trouble. They hit contact, in other words, the enemy engaged them, and we were asked to run to see if there's anything we could do as far as observation for calling in anything from fixed wing to artillery. We kind of wound our way back along a ridge line, got off the trail a little bit, and started zigzagging back and forth. We suspected a lot of enemy. After the fact, we found out that they dropped us in the middle of a battalion of 1,200 people, 1,200 NVA. That's a lot for a 6-person team, and there were 4 6-person teams, so there were 24 of us. The first one going up the hill was Bun, and I was right at its feet, and you were right behind me, and we were crawling our way up, and they opened up on us. Holy cripe.
And then shortly after that, Boone and Bob and I were at the top of the hill, and Roger and McLean and Jimmy Sessoms were at the bottom of the hill behind a big tree that had been blown over or something. And of course, that's when McLean got hit. So they said, "Doc, come back down the hill."
I can remember I covered and shot, and he went running down the hill, and I remember looking like that, and I was pulling on the trigger, and there were bullets going right by his feet.
I was pretty surprised that I actually got there. Pieces of dirt and wood chips and everything.
Around your feet, you know, that's what you see in the movies.
And when I got there, the first one I saw was Jimmy, and Jimmy's eyes were the size of that bucket right there. Like, you kidding me? And then I went over to McLean, and he was shot right in the heart. I couldn't do anything whatsoever, and I told Roger. And
it was around the early part of June of 1969 when I was a forward observer that we certainly encountered American Beauty in trouble in the demilitarized zone. I feel like I really didn't know the situation there, but when we set out on that morning to, I guess we knew they were going to pull those guys out, but I had no sense of what kind of they had experienced for the previous 24 hours. I just didn't know.
I remember then we were just about all low on ammunition because we'd been in it all day, and then, you know, the other contact before and that sort of thing. And I remember then, after all that happened, you know, the NVA, you know, I went over and treated, and going back down the hill to get McLean and walking up on one, and all that happened, then it was just starting to sink in a little bit. And this was my first patrol, first few days in the bush. And I looked at Roger. I said, "Roger, we're not going to make it, are we?" And Roger said, "Oh, Doc, don't worry. This happens all the time." And from that point on, it just like relieved me. Okay, I believed him, you know.
What I remember, what first happened is that the whole company left our patrol base. So that would have been 3 platoons left, and we marched right up down across the Ben Hai River, which is the dividing line between North and South Vietnam. We marched up a hill. We got to a top of the ridge line, and we set up a patrol base there. And at that time, 1 platoon was to go forward and make the rendezvous with American Beauty. 2 were going to stay back in reserve. It was myself and an enlisted forward observer. That's the only part of the team. And I certainly felt it was my call to go, not to send the enlisted man. So I went. I asked him to give me his M14, and I kept my 45 as well, but I took his M14, I took the radio, and I went with 1st Platoon, I think, that went in to marry up with American Beauty.
So growing up, you know, I served because I wanted to give back a little bit. My whole family has served. My grandpa served in World War II. My dad served during the Vietnam era. And you know, now I served. I joined when I was 17, and there's something to be said that there's an understanding between service members. And growing up, those guys were my heroes, and these guys were my heroes. Someone that carried the torch before me. And that's really a way to say, you know, what do service members mean to each other is carrying that torch. You know, these guys obviously aren't serving anymore. They've done their duty, they've carried the torch, and it's an honor to be able to pick up that torch and carry it on. And that develops a shared understanding of, you know, someone that's willing to risk their life, you know, for others and for our nation. We just got out here to the island. The rest of the crew's just behind us, and we're heading up to see the memorial for Merle Allen and the rest of Team Stryker. It's going to be pretty awesome. We're going to change the flags out at the island and have a small ceremony. And then the boys from American Beauty are going to say thanks to the Allen family and to Jeff and the rest of Team Stryker for what they do here and for allowing us to have this event. So this is kind of the beginning of the end for this trip. It's going to be a really cool experience to be out here, and we're looking forward to it.
When Merle was lost in Vietnam, the family decided to build a monument out where he used to come and hunt and fish. Hauled all the rocks by hand, built it all by hand, right here on site. Interesting note is we were shot down about 4:30 in the afternoon. The family had no idea of that when they built the monument, but at 4:30 in the afternoon on June 30th, the sun shines right through the trees onto the monument plaque. Later on, it became more significant when I was able to tell them that that's when we were shot down. The greatest words I heard was, "You've got something special here." And it meant something special to them that they were willing to leave something to commemorate their guys. It's kind of a silent living memorial. All right, we're gonna change out the flags today. I guess they're ready to go.
Group, hut, hey, hut. Present, hum. Present, hum.
Order, hunt.
I have to say it's quite gratifying to see Bob Lake and Joe Sheriff get together, because when they were together in Vietnam, they were together for such a short period of time. You know, they might have been on, this was Joe's first patrol, and after that, Bob and Joe weren't together again. It's only through the camaraderie and connection of them being Marine recon people that they have any affinity to each other. Otherwise, they would just be total strangers. You would never expect them to get together. But to have shared something as profound as they did, of surviving that 24 hours, expecting to die and never get off that hill, and then to have those connections, you know, it's very profound for both of those men. They're survivors. They really are survivors, and I'm glad to be part of that.
I really just wanted to take this time, I'm not a public speaker, I wanted to say to Jeff and to the Allen family, thank you very much for your hospitality and for sharing this with us. I wanted to say especially to the young veterans and the active military, thank you guys very much. I want to say to Jeff, who told our story once, but most importantly, who I saw his smiling face come out of the jungle in June of 1969. Thank you. And my brother Bob, and I would like to dedicate this, if I may, to American Beauty, Roger C., Lieutenant McLean, and Jimmy Sesson, and Semper Fi.
Semper Fi, bud.